Pokémon, I became a principal and hired Liu Bo as a teacher. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 351 Tasting Delicious Food. The two began to walk through the bookshelves, looking for the novel about the history of the ancient evergreen Pokémon. They exchanged their reading experiences and favorite authors with each other, and unknowingly fell into a conversation. Who is your favorite writer? Yan asked curiously. Kong Xian thought for a while. My favorite writer is Emily. His novels are full of conflicts between romance and rationality, showing the most real and complex side of human nature. Yan smiled and nodded. I also like his works very much, especially Wuthering Heights. The love story intertwined with passion and pain is unforgettable. 473 The two of them inadvertently came to a quiet and hidden corner. Kong Xian looked up at the novel placed on the bookshelf, its heart filled with the truth about the lost species of Pokémon in ancient times. Kong Xian and Yan found the novel they wanted about the history of ancient evergreen Pokémon in the library. They took down the book from the bookshelf, walked out of the reading room, and went to a restaurant near the college. Entering the restaurant, Kong Xian and Yan felt the alluring aroma of delicious food surrounded by elegant decorate. This restaurant is spacious, bright and full of energy. There are all kinds of exquisite foods on the table, ranging from Chinese to Western food. After the two sat down, the waiter enthusiastically recommended the special dishes of the day to them and handed them the menu. Yan glanced at the dazzling array of food choices on the menu and said happily, "Wow, there are so many kinds here. I really don't know what to order." Kong Xian smiled and responded, "It doesn't matter, we can taste different dishes together and share each other's favorite flavors." So they started ordering various dishes. The waiter busily recorded their choices and quickly brought the delicacies to them. The dining table is filled with delicacies that are delicious, and mouth-watering. Mr. Yan first picked up a piece of crispy fried chicken and took a bite. He said with a beaming smile, "This fried chicken is so delicious. Crispy on the outside and tender on the inside." 1. Kong Xian took a sip of the stewed seafood soup. After his tongue touched the delicacy of the seafood, he exclaimed, "This bowl of soup is simply heavenly. You can feel the rich taste of the ocean in every bite." They chatted about the food culture and cooking skills around them. Kong Xian shared the various special dishes he tried during his travels, while Yan talked about the happy times when he was cooking with his family as a child. Yan looked at Kong Xian, who was smiling confidently across from him, and couldn't help but sigh. "You seem to have a deep understanding of the world's food." He looked at a bowl of braised pork in his hand. "No wonder you have such a unique taste in food." Kong Xian smiled and shook his head. "Actually, for me, food is not only a taste enjoyment, but also a cultural inheritance and exchange. There is a unique story and meaning behind each dish." Mrs. Yan nodded and said with deep sympathy, "Yes. Every place has different flavors and traditional cooking methods. By tasting different flavors of food, we can better understand the cultures and people around the world." After enjoying the feast of delicious food, Kong Xian and Yan decided to explore the cultural and artistic atmosphere around the college. They left the restaurant and walked along the boulevard toward the art exhibition hall near the college. Chapter 352 The Small World of Creation. When they entered the exhibition hall, a strong artistic atmosphere hit them. The exhibition hall is filled with various forms of artworks, including paintings, sculptures, photography, etc. Yan stepped forward and stopped in front of the painting. He stared at a colorful landscape painting with admiration shining in his eyes. "This painting is so beautiful. When you see this work, you feel like you are in the world." Kong Xian stood next to him, carefully admiring the delicate conversion in the sculpture. "Yes, every work of art is a unique world, and every artist has his own unique creative motivation and expression." He turned to Yan. "Which work do you like?" Yan pointed to a modern painting full of abstract lines and bright colors. "This painting made me feel endless imagination and creativity. I imagined how artists could express their innermost emotions in this way." Kong Xian smiled and nodded, pointing to a photograph that captured a free-flying eagle. "To me, this photography represents freedom and pursuit. It reminds me of the scene of evergreen Pokémon flying freely in the vastness of soaring in the sky." The two strolled through the exhibition hall, and each piece of art triggered an in-depth and interesting discussion. Kong Xian introduced Yan to the important role of different art forms in the history of evergreen Pokémon, while Yan shared his understanding of color and shape expression. After their exploration of the art gallery, they decided to visit the Pokémon garden at the back of the academy. They walked along a path into a beautiful garden surrounded by green trees and lush flowers and plants. The sunlight shines on the ground through the gaps in the leafage, like a delicate pattern. Yan couldn't help but exclaimed, "This garden is so beautiful. Every flower exudes the fragrance of attract, and every green leaf shines with vitality." Kong Xian smiled and nodded, looking at Yan Shi, and he even choked up with excitement. "This is a small world created by Pokémon. They use their own power to give birth to these beautiful and magical flowers." He expressed his deep love and yearning for the Pokémon world. Yan raised her head, tears welling up in her eyes. "Since I was a child, I have longed to enter the world of Pokémon and see them create such beautiful scenery. Now, I have finally witnessed it all with my own eyes," he said mildly. "Please give me flowers." Kong Xian stayed by his side silently and felt the emotions deep in his heart. "Yan, your dream is about to come true. The Pokémon world is no longer an unreachable fantasy for you, but has become a real place," he said softly. They continued walking along the path, admiring the endless blooming flowers and cheerfully flying Pokémon in the garden. Kong Xian introduced each Pokémon to Yan and their important role in role-play in the garden, while Yan pointed excitedly and expressed emotion as they passed by an open grassland. A burst of cheers suddenly came from the distance. They followed the sound and saw a few Pokémon playing happily under the blue sky and white clouds. Kong Xian and Yan took a closer look and found that they were a group of evergreen Pokémon. They shuttled between the trees, jumping gently. Their innocent and smart eyes make people yearn for them. "Look! How they are flying freely!" Yan shouted excitedly. Chapter 353 Glowing Orb. Kong Xian smiled and nodded. "Yes, they have no bonds and can fly freely in the vast soaring in the sky. This is the life of evergreen Pokémon." They stopped under a tall tree and watched the Pokémon playing freely under the blue sky and white clouds. The sun fell on them, illuminating their pure figures. Yan couldn't help but express her fascination. "I really want to transform into Pokémon and fly freely in this beautiful 420 world." Kong Xian patted him on the shoulder gently. "Maybe one day, you can realize this dream." He looked at him deeply, with encouragement and longing shining in his eyes. Kong Xian looked at the cheerful scenes on the field with a smile, and Yan also took a closer look excitedly. He saw that the Pokémon had different shapes. Some were small and cute Pokémon, some were emerald birds with flying wings, and there was an evergreen Pokémon that was covered in moss and grew into the shape of willow leaves like a tree. "Kong Xian, they are so cute." Yan couldn't help but admire. Kong Xian nodded and smiled. "Yes, every Pokémon has their unique charm. But to mobilize their power and interact with them requires certain skills and sensing abilities." Yan looked at Kong Xian holding a glowing orb in his hand. "What is this?" Kong Xian handed the orb to Yan and explained, "This orb can summon active Pokémon around you. Try it." Yan took the orb carefully and thought about it the way Kong Xian taught him. Suddenly, the orb glowed and began to rotate slowly. Gradually, the Japanese Pokémon appeared in front of Yan. "Wow! That's amazing!" Mrs. Yan exclaimed in surprise. Kong Xian smiled and encouraged him. "Try to interact with it and see if you can establish a connection." Yan carefully reached out his hand and gently touched the Pokémon's head. It seemed to sense Yan's friendliness, and smiled and rubbed his fingers intimately. "Wow! So cute!" Mrs. Yan laughed excitedly. Kong Xian motioned to him. "Try to use your thoughts to mobilize its power." Yan followed the instructions to concentrate and gather her thoughts. Yan felt confused. His original excited expression gradually turned awkward, not knowing how to interact with this Pokémon. He tried to mimic Kong Xian's previous action and patted its head gently, but for some reason, it didn't get close to him as happily as before. Yan smiled awkwardly and looked at Kong Xian beside her. He smiled slightly, with a hint of understanding and encouragement in his eyes. Yan felt his sincerity and focused her attention again. He took a deep breath and tried to calm down his emotions as his thoughts gathered together. He stretched out his fingers again and gently touched the Pokémon's body. This time, he could feel its weak energy fluctuations. "Hi, little one," Yan said gently. "Can you hear my 4.4 sound?" The Pokémon turned its head to look at Yan and let out a grunt of pleasure. "I think we can be friends." Yan continued, "If you want, we can explore the world together and grow together." The Pokémon seemed to understand Yan's words, and it stared at him with curiosity. Chapter 354 Establishing a Connection. Yan felt that she had regained her confidence in taking control of the situation. Now, I want to ask you to show your strength. Yan said and clapped her hands gently. Pokémon no longer hesitated and launched a contested and fast performance. It jumped with fast and flexible movements, drawing an arc in the air. Then, energy suddenly condensed and burst out with a beautiful and dazzling light. Yan looked at all this in stunned silence. He was shocked by the power shown by Pokémon. Kong Xian stood aside and nodded and smiled encouragingly. Great. You 14 have already bonded. Yan looked at Kong Xian with a smile on his face. Thank you for your encouragement and help. Yan is determined to adapt and learn the skills to interact with Pokémon as soon as possible. He spends more time observing and learning how other people interact with Pokémon interactive every day. He would sit in the corner of the campus and quietly observe the interactions between other people and Pokémon. Some people feel a deep sense of intimacy with their Pokémon, while others display extraordinary skill in chemistry. Yan tried hard to use mimics techniques, but he didn't make much progress. Whether he's using natural language or special gestures, he always does it in a stilted way, confusing the Pokémon. This made Yan very frustrated and wondered whether she was not suitable for interacting with Pokémon. However, Kong Xian has been observing him and giving him timely advice and encouragement. He told Yan to relax, not to be too reserved, and to show true emotions when communicating with Pokémon. He also reminds him to pay attention to details and be good at listening to Pokémon's needs. Although Yan feels that the road ahead is full of hardships, he keeps working hard and firmly believes that he can gradually master the skills of interacting with Pokémon. He spent all his time observing and learning, and also carried out a lot of practice. After a period of hard work and practice, Yan gradually felt her progress in interacting with Pokémon. He learned how to mobilize Pokémon and communicate effectively with them through body language and signals. He gently pats the little friends he has carefully cultivated and gently tells them their next move. The friends responded happily to Yan's display of trust and affection. Kong Xian watched Yan's progress in extreme speed and he was very satisfied with him. Yan packed her bags and prepared to leave where Kong Xian was. He was excited because he had learned a lot here, but at the same time he felt that there were still many unknown worlds waiting for him to explore. At this moment, Kong Xian walked into the room and saw Mrs. Yan busy packing 113 luggage. He walked over and sat beside the bed and asked with concern, Ms. Yan, where are you going? Yan stopped what he was doing and raised his head to look at Kong Xian. He smiled and said, Kong Xian, I want to find the ancient Pokémon race. Kong Xian was stunned for a moment after hearing this, and then showed a happy smile. Very good, Yan. You have a strong interest in the Pokémon world and are willing to take the initiative to explore the unknown. This is a very good decision, he said encouragingly. Yan nodded. Yes, I really love the process of interacting with Pokémon. I have learned a lot with your coaching and support over time. Chapter 355 Kong Empire. Although there are still some shortcomings, I believe that through continuous learning and practice, I will become better. Kong Xian smiled and nodded, happily accepting Yan's decision. You have been studying hard, I can see it clearly. Your care and dedication to Pokémon are sincere, which allows you to establish a special connection with them. Yan felt very warm and encouraged when she heard what Kong Xian said. After Kong Xian heard what Yan said, he fell into thinking. He felt this was a perfect opportunity to correct Yan's misconceptions about Pokémon and hopefully change his mind, so he decided to go to the mysterious Kong Empire with Yan to find those long-lost Pokémon races. Yan, have you heard of the Kong Empire? Kong Xian broke the silence. Yan was stunned for a moment, then shook his head. I've never heard of it, Kong Xian. Kong Xian smiled slightly. The Azure Dragon Empire is a mysterious and ancient place, where many rare Pokémon races once lived. However, these Pokémon suddenly disappeared without a trace a few decades ago. Yan was very surprised and excited when she heard this story. This has been an incredible adventure. I never thought I would have the opportunity to be part of the search for a missing Pokémon race. Kong Xian nodded. Yes, I also think this will be an unforgettable journey. Not only will you experience the process of getting along with Pokémon, but you will also be able to solve the mysteries of those ancient legends. A trace of determination flashed in Yan's eyes. I will definitely do my best to help you find those missing Pokémon races. Kong Xian smiled and patted Yan on the shoulder. I believe you will do a good job. We have to start making plans to go to the Azure Dragon Empire. Kong Xian led Yan into the interior of the Pokémon Academy. The hall of the academy is spacious and bright, and the walls are covered with paintings and historical pictures about the Pokémon race. The two walked through the hall and came to a room filled with books and documents. This room is called the Palace of Knowledge and contains a wealth of historical information about Pokémon. Kong Xian asked Yan to browse these precious documents with him, hoping to find some clues about the missing Pokémon race. They began to open one book after another and search for various information. There are many mysterious and ancient Pokémon races recorded in the books, each with unique abilities and forms. However, in all of this information, there is no mention of the Azure Dragon Empire or those long-lost Pokémon races. Yan was confused. Kong Xian, why don't these books mention the Azure Dragon Empire or those missing Pokémon? Kong Xian stopped flipping through his pages and raised his brows slightly. I'm afraid these books don't record all of Pokémon history. We need to research and explore more deeply to find the missing Pokémon races. And Li Xiao. Yan was shocked by the answer, but also full of curiosity. Is there more to know about Pokémon? I want to learn more. Kong Xian looked at Yan with a smile. Of course, Pokémon has endless charm and secrets. We can continue to search for information, or go to some legendary places related to Pokémon to look for clues about the missing race. In the Palace of Knowledge, Yan was immersed in books. He flipped through the history of Pokémon. Chapter 356 Rent. Take a keen interest in the forms and abilities of various races. Kong Xian stood aside quietly, observing Yan's expression. Suddenly, Yan put down the book in his hand and raised his head to look at Kong Xian. Kong Xian, I understand. I realize that I have some dangerous misunderstandings about Pokémon and I need to change my way of thinking. Kong Xian smiled slightly. He was looking forward to this moment. Yan, you are a smart young man. It is not easy to accept new things and change your views. Yan looked at Kong Xian gratefully. Thank you for teaching and inspiring me all the time. I am willing to work hard to change my views on the way to the Qinglong Empire. Hearing this, Kong Xian nodded happily. You have taken the first step. Change takes time and effort, but as long as you keep an open mind and a desire for knowledge, you can succeed. They looked at each other, determination shining in each of their eyes. I will always be by your side to provide help and coaching. Together we will embark on this journey full of unknowns and adventures. Yan felt full of courage and determination in his heart, and he knew that this would be a long and difficult journey. Kong Xian led Yan through the halls of the college and then came to a huge map room. In the center of the room, Bei lies an exquisitely detailed map, which marks the Blue Dragon Empire and other legendary places related to Pokémon. Yan stood in front of the map, staring at those unknown and distant places. I believe that with our joint efforts, we will be able to find clues to the missing race. Kong Xian walked to Yan with a smile. It is precisely because of partners like you who are positive and brave enough to change that we can achieve greater and more important results. The two looked at each other in silence for a moment, then turned to face the map at the same time. This will be a journey full of difficulties and challenges, but I believe that we will find the answer to the missing race. Yan and Kong Xian stood in front of the map together, focusing on the distant and mysterious Qinglong Empire. They took a deep breath and prepared to embark on this journey full of difficulties and challenges. At this moment, a burst of lively laughter came from the end of the corridor. Yan and Kong Xian turned their heads and saw a Pokémon kid holding a clown mask in his hand and jumping towards them. Hey! Hello! The Pokémon yelled. He kept jumping up and down, showing off his flexible body. My name is Liar. Are you new here? I can show you some interesting skills. Kong Xian frowned slightly, not interested in Lei Wu. He looked at Yan. We have other important things to deal with. But Yan was attracted by Liar's enthusiasm. He admired Liar's skills and agility. This little guy is so cute. Look at him, so lively and interesting. Liar smiled cheerfully and continued to perform various skills. He nimbly shuttles between Yan and Kong Xian, performing moves such as swinging, high jumping and handstands. Yan laughed unconsciously, admiring Liar's enthusiasm. Liar, you are really awesome. You are the liveliest and cutest Pokémon in the academy. Kong Xian glanced at Liar and shrugged slightly. He was not interested in Rei's performance. I don't care about these trivial things. Chapter 357 Taking Care of Pokémon. What we have to deal with are more important and serious issues. Kong Xian watched Liar's performance. His brows gradually widened. Although he was not interested in these trivial things, Yan's smile made him feel a smile. Well, Liar, your performance is indeed wonderful. Thank you for your warm invitation, but we have other important tasks to deal with. Kong Xian said. Liar stopped the performance, slightly disappointed. but there was still a trace of expectation in his eyes. "Oh. What kind of mission is it? I want to help too." Kong Xian hesitated for a moment, thinking about whether Lyre should be involved. Finally, he decided to give Lyre a chance to prove himself. "Okay, we have been given a mission to take care of some naughty Pokemon in the Academy Garden. Are you willing to help us?" Lyre's eyes immediately lit up. "Of course I am willing. I can just show off my H skills and wisdom." Yam patted Lyre on the shoulder happily. "Great. You will become an excellent assistant." Kong Xian nodded and began to explain the details of the mission to Lyre. "There are some naughty Pokemon living in the Academy Gardens who like to cause chaos. We need to put them back into place and keep the garden tidy and orderly. If you can help us with this task, the Pokemon will be very fond of you." Lyre showed a confident smile. "No problem. I will do my best to complete this task." Kong Xian and Yan walked into the college garden and saw a scene of flowers blooming in front of them. However, as they get deeper into the garden, they begin to see disturbed flower beds, torn leaves and messy paths. It seems that these Pokemon are really naughty. We have to find them as soon as possible and return them to their places," Kong Xian said. Kong Xian opens the new function provided by the Academy Pokemon viewing function. He curiously scanned the various Pokemon information displayed on the screen. This new feature can help him better understand the characteristics and needs of each Pokemon, making it easier for him to take care of them in the garden. Kong Xian uses the Pokemon View function to learn about each Pokemon one by one. He discovered that some Pokemon like to eat sweet flower petals, while others prefer fresh leafage. He also discovered that there were a few Pokemon that like to play and make noise, always making the flower bed a mess. "Please give me flowers." Kong Xian began taking care of the Pokemon based on their preferences and needs. He picked some of the most beautiful flowers for those Pokemon who like flower petals so they can enjoy their meal. For those Pokemon who prefer leafage, he tightly grasps the freshest leaves on the large branches and gently places them in front of them. Under Kong Xian's careful care, the entire garden gradually returned to order and beauty. The once mischievous Pokemon slowly began to get used to Kong Xian's presence and showed him a better attitude. Kong Xian found that through the Pokemon viewing function, he established a closer and more intimate connection with the Pokemon in his garden. Whenever he approached them, they would show him cheerful and excited expressions. Sometimes, when Kong Xian takes out some snacks to reward them, they will jump and splash eagerly, as if to express their gratitude and love to him. Kong Xian took a shovel and a big basket and stepped into the green grass of the garden. This garden was once a beautiful wonderland, but now it seems to be a bit shabby. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 358 Trusted Friend. Overgrown vegetation and flowers blooming in disorder make the whole space look chaotic. However, Kong Xian realized that it wasn't the Pokemon's fault. They were just so lively and playful in nature. He took a deep breath of the fragrance emanating from the flowers and made up his mind to keep this place in order. He walked to the first corner and found a naughty Pokemon. It was standing on a hydrangea flower and playing 947 playfully. "Hey, little guy. Can you come down for a moment? I want to tidy up these flowers." Kong Xian tried to persuade it with a gentle tone. However, Pokemon looked at Kong Xian indifferently and did not give any response. Kong Xian was a little surprised. This indifferent attitude towards him made him feel confused and frustrated. "Maybe I should change my approach." Kong Xian closed his eyes, calmed down, and tried to establish a spiritual connection with this Pokemon. He felt a loneliness and uneasiness inside Pokemon. It's not really indifferent to him, it's just that it has been ignored and hurt by humans too many times in the past. Kong Xian called again with a gentle voice. "I understand your pain, but please believe me, I am a person who truly loves and protects Pokemon. If you can give me some opportunities, I am willing to become your trustworthy friend." Kong Xian paused, waiting for Pokemon's response. Suddenly, a trace of vigilance and curiosity flashed in Pokemon's eyes. "Really?" it asked softly. "Of course." Kong Xian replied with a smile, "As long as you are willing to give me a chance." The Pokemon finally jumped off the hydrangea after thinking about it for a moment. Kong Xian felt relieved and extended a friendly gesture to it. "Nice to meet you," he said. "Now we can take care of this garden together." The Pokemon seemed to understand his words and smiled shyly. They began to work together. Kong Xian led the Pokémon to cut off overly long branches and leaves, prune flowers, and organize a clean and tidy home for them. Kong Xian walked to another corner of the garden, hoping to meet cooperative Pokémon. He found a Pokémon with colorful spots on its body, playing with a faucet and splashing water. Kong Xian smiled and stepped forward to stop it, but there was mockery and mischief in Pokémon's eyes. "Hey, little guy. Stop making such a fuss," Kong Xian tried to persuade it. However, Pokémon continued to play with the faucet as if he was disdainful, completely ignoring Kong Xian's existence. This made Kong Xian feel a little frustrated and helpless. "I really want to help you. Why are you unwilling to cooperate?" Kong Xian tried to explain. The Pokémon looked at Kong Xian mockingly and made a face at him. Kong Xian felt teased and frustrated. "Maybe I missed something," Kong Xian said to himself. He decided to try again to bond with the playful Pokémon. He closed his eyes, concentrated his thoughts, and tried to communicate with it. Kong Xian was feeling frustrated and confused by Pokémon's ridicule. Suddenly, he felt a breeze blowing behind him. He couldn't help but look back, and saw a young boy with Pokémon skin and short hair, Liar, shuffling unsteadily towards him. Liar came to Kong Xian and suddenly dropped an ancient book. Kong Xian picked up the book out of curiosity and was immediately shocked by the font's flashing mysterious runes on the book. Chapter 359 The Legendary Guardian. He could feel that the books contained a long history and endless knowledge, which made him feel an uncontrollable curiosity and covet in his heart. "Liar, what do you want to tell me?" Kong Xian looked at Liar expectantly. Liar replied in a weak voice, "This book is one of the ancient books that our Pokémon Academy has passed down for a long time. It records the history and secrets of our evergreen Pokémon and humans exploring the Pokémon world together." Hearing this, Kong Xian became even more excited. He never expected that such a valuable document would fall into his hands. He decided to open the book and see what secrets were hidden in it. Quietly, a low singing sound came from the books. Kong Xian stared closely at the pages of text spread out in front of him and discovered that the book described a forgotten continent. This continent is said to hide magical and powerful Pokémon, and there is even a legendary guardian Pokémon. Kong Xian subconsciously felt that this discovery was crucial to his cooperation with Pokémon. If you can explore this endless land, you may be able to find the motivation for Pokémon to pursue freedom and accept help. Kong Xian was sitting on a bench in the center of the garden, concentrating on reading the ancient mysterious Pokémon chronicles sent by Liar. The book records the stories and abilities of various mysterious and beautiful Pokémon. Whenever he read about the deep feelings and beauty in it, he couldn't help but be intoxicated, as if he was also in those wonderful scenes. While Kong Xian was immersed in the world of the book, a man quietly walked into the garden. Yan saw Kong Xian engrossed in reading a book, smiled softly and walked to his side. "You look intoxicated," she said with a smile. Kong Xian raised his head and gradually came to his senses. "This book is really attractive." A flash of excitement flashed in his eyes. "It records many stories and abilities about Pokémon that we don't know. Every paragraph of text is full of affection and beauty, making me feel as if I have personally experienced the scenes in those stories." Yan sat next to Kong Xian with a smile. "It is indeed a very precious book." He gently picked up the book and started reading. In it, there are stories about mysterious and powerful Pokémon and their history of exploring the Pokémon world with humans. When Kong Xian heard these words, a strong sense of covet and determination surged in his heart. He was no longer anxious to clean up the garden, but in order to better understand Pokémon, he began to try different methods to communicate and cooperate with them. He is determined to become a true Pokémon messenger, protect them, understand them, and live in harmony with them. Yan, I think this book is crucial to our cooperation with Pokémon. Kong Xian looked at Yan firmly. "If we can explore this forgotten continent and find the legendary guardian Pokémon, maybe we can let Pokémon see the motivation to pursue freedom and accept help." Yan thought quietly for a while, then nodded. "You are right, Kong Xian. We may be able to find what the Pokémon really need through this continent. I am willing to explore this unknown land with you." A glimmer of relief flashed in Kong Xian's eyes. "Thank you for your support, Yan." He held Yan's hand. "We will be the messengers of Pokémon, bringing them faith and hope." Chapter 360 Snow Mountain Rat. Kong Xian walked into the garden carrying a big basket. The garden is full of life, and Pokémon are busy jumping and flying among the flowers. The sunlight shines through the gaps in the leafage, making the entire garden look as beautiful as a picture. Kong Xian's heart is filled with care and love for Pokémon. He carefully observed their every move and found that some Pokémon were trying to drag a large branch but tripped. He quickly approached, knelt down, and said to the Pokémon in a gentle voice, "Do you need help?" Pokémon saw Kong Xian taking the initiative to lend a helping hand, and his eyes shone with gratitude. It nodded and pointed the big branch towards Kong Xian. "Okay." Kong Xian smiled and put the basket on the ground. "Let's move it together." The two of them worked together to lift the big branch and successfully move it away from the Pokémon. After Pokémon stood up straight, he held his injured shoulder and looked at Kong Xian. The two sides smiled at each other, as if they had established a special tacit understanding with each other. Kong Xian patted the Pokémon's back gently and said kindly, "You did a good job, little guy. But be more careful next time." When the Pokémon saw Kong Xian's appearance, they flew up one after another, as if to express their gratitude to Kong Xian for his concern and care. Kong Xian smiled and nodded to them. Garden rubbish and vermilion litter the ground, reflecting the cleaning and tidying they've been in need of. Kong Xian decided to collect all the garbage and keep the garden clean and tidy. Kong Xian bent down and prepared to pick up the garbage scattered on the ground. Just as he reached out to grab a pile of scraps of paper, suddenly, Rijian's shrill laughter pierced the air. Kong Xian turned his head and found a Pokémon smiling happily at him. This Pokémon is a particularly naughty fellow named Snowy. With its pure white fur and dexterous posture, it is one of the most energetic and playful Pokémon in the garden. Seeing that Kong Xian was stunned, the Snow Mountain Rat sprinkled all the garbage he picked up from behind on Kong Xian like a prank. The Pokémon all burst out laughing after seeing this scene. Kong Xian was stunned for a moment, and then showed a gentle and tolerant smile. He understood that this was the Snow Mountain Rat's way of being naughty and did not get angry or blame it. He quietly dusted off the garbage residue on his body, and then walked gently towards the snowy mountainous area where he was observing the dramatic scene. Not far away he knelt down, his eyes met the Snow Mountain Rat, and he said with a smile, "Hey, little guy, what are you doing?" When the Snow Mountain Rat heard Kong Xian's voice, he immediately stopped laughing and jumped on Kong Xian's shoulder. It poked Kong Xian's cheek with its little paw and winked playfully. The sun shines through the gaps in the leafage, casting a warm halo on the pure white fur of the Snow Mountain Rat. Kong Xian felt the warmth and joy and smiled unconsciously. Kong Xian felt the warmth of the sun shining on his face, and the lingering joy made him couldn't help but laugh. He raised his hand and gently brushed away the petals thrown by the Snow Mountain Rat. Kong Xian smiled stupidly and caught every flower, and bowed to the Pokémon generously. "Ha ha ha." The Pokémon continued to laugh, as if this was the funniest thing in the world. The Snow Mountain Rat looked at Kong Xian's silly face and seemed to understand his tolerance and kindness. It blinked mischievously, stretched out its little paw and poked Kong Xian's nose. Chapter 361 Big Family. Kong Xian was stunned for a moment, and then understood what the Snow Mountain Rat meant. He stretched out his finger and poked the Snow Mountain Rat's soft and cute belly. The Snow Mountain Rat was so amused that it giggled, jumped down from Kong Xian's shoulders, and ran freely in the yard. When the Pokémon saw this scene, they were also intoxicated. Pokémon began to join this fun stage one by one, teasing Kong Xian, climbing and chasing each other. The flowers picked from the trees have almost been used up, and Kong Xian's body is covered with colorful petals. He turned into a flower man, very funny and cute. Kong Xian didn't care about this, he still smiled brightly and tolerantly. When the Pokémon saw the director looking so happy, they were also infected by 47's happiness. They ran and played happily in the yard, accompanied by cheerful laughter. At this moment, Liar's silver-white figure crossed soaring in the sky and quickly landed on Kong Xian's shoulder. Kong Xian raised his head and frowned slightly. "What's the matter, Liar?" he asked curiously. Liar said cautiously, "Master Kong Xian, I noticed the special attributes and habits of the Snow Mountain Rat. They were actually very mischievous Pokémon, but they're not really evil. They just want attention." Kong Xian couldn't help but frown after hearing this. He understood that he had some misunderstandings about the Snow Mountain Rat. He thanked Liar for the reminder and decided to change his approach to the Snow Mountain Rat. So, he put down his arms covered with petals and walked towards the snow-capped mountains. He said softly, "Snow Mountain Rat, there are many friendly and cute Pokémon in this beautiful garden. Have you ever thought about joining this big family?" Kong Xian pointed at the exquisite flowers and cheerfully playing Pokémon around him. The garden exudes a strong fragrance of flowers, and what greets us is a harmonious laughter. Kong Xian looks forward to sharing this beauty with Snow Mountain Rats. After listening to Kong Xian's words, The snow mountain rat sniffed the fragrant atmosphere in the garden and looked at the friendly and lively Pokémon. Its eyes began to soften. Beak, I am willing to join. The snow mountain rat finally spoke, and it used its small paws to grab the opportunity given to it by Kong Xian. Kong Xian smiled happily. He gently touched the soft and warm hair of the snow mountain rat and said, "Welcome to join us. We will enjoy this beautiful and happy world together." Suddenly, a huge snake appeared in the center of the hall. Creature, its body covered in shining frost air conditioning spread out, and the surrounding air began to become colder. Kong Xian narrowed his eyes and stared at the ice wind snake. "Everyone, spread out. Be careful of its attacks." Kong Xian shouted loudly. The Pokémon Academy fell into panic, and the students were startled and growled one after another. Several students were too frightened to move, but Kong Xian quickly ran to them. "Hold my hand," he shouted eagerly to the classmates. They immediately grasped Kong Xian's outstretched arm and were quickly pulled to a safe area by him. At the same time, other students also took action. Some quickly evacuated the hall, and some used Pokémon to fend off the snake's attack. "No. Retreat." The brave classmates shouted. "We are not intimidated by guys like this." Other students also shouted in unison with courage. "Pokémon unite." They each mobilized their own Pokémon to attack the ice wind snake. Period. Chapter 362 Unprecedented. Various elements such as flames, sparks, and water flows appear one after another, forming a fierce confrontation with the cold air of the ice wind snake. Kong Xian took a deep breath and stared at it all. He suddenly understood that this incident was no accident. There must be a reason for the appearance of the ice wind serpent. This ice wind snake will never come by itself. Kong Xian thought silently in his heart and turned around to look for clues. While he was searching carefully, the ice wind snake suddenly launched a more ferocious attack on the students. It spit up the intense cold air, freezing the surrounding ground. The hall fell into panic again. Students ran in all directions, and the growl of panic resounded throughout the college. Kong Xian frowned and stood up resolutely. He stepped towards the ice wind snake, exuding a strong fighting spirit. He made a vow in his heart to protect the honor of the Pokémon Academy. Kong Xian faced the ice wind snake and stared firmly at this huge snake-like creature. Cold air penetrated the entire scene, and the air seemed to freeze to normal. He waved the staff in his hand and released a powerful energy. "My Pokémon friends, please listen to my call." Kong Xian shouted. The students behind him were greatly boosted in morale after seeing Kong Xian preparing to challenge, and they all applauded and cheered. "Come on, Dean. We believe in you," someone shouted excitedly. "For Pokémon Academy." Another student yelled. The cheers continued to ring out. In such an atmosphere, Kong Xian felt unprecedented strength. He took a deep breath and gathered all the energy areas in his body. "Ice wind snake, do you think you can threaten us?" Kong Xian shouted indignantly. The ice wind snake launched a more violent attack on Kong Xian, and the cold air was biting. But in front of Kong Xian, these attacks seemed to be worthless. He quickly dodged and used his most powerful skills at the same time. "Holy flame!" Kong Xian shouted, and his staff released a dazzling flame. The flames collided with the ice wind snake's cold air, violently erupting into energy fluctuations. The flame spread quickly, melting all the surrounding cold air and spreading towards the ice wind snake. Kong Xian followed the flames without fear. "Unlock Sword of Holy Light." He chanted a spell, and the staff turned into a sword, and the sword was shining with a strong light. "Please give me flowers." Kong Xian waved the Sword of Holy Light and faced the wind snake's most ferocious attack. The two are intertwined, as if the entire space is occupied by them. Seeing that the situation was not good, the ice wind snake roared violently. Its body began to grow larger, and the cold air around it became thicker. "We can't let it continue any longer," Kong Xian shouted. His call resonated with other students, and they joined the fight. One after another they mobilized their respective Pokémon to attack the ice wind snake. Various elements such as fire, spark, and water flow are intertwined, and the students work closely to maximize their Pokémon skills. They experienced a tacit understanding and unity between them. Just when Kong Xian was about to fight the ice wind snake, a smart owl flew over. It is all white and exudes a calm and cool atmosphere. The owl landed on Kong Xian's shoulder and stared at the ice wind snake firmly. The students in the Pokémon Academy looked at the owl in surprise, and Xian was also stunned. He didn't expect that a strange Pokémon would appear in this critical moment. Period. Chapter 363 Owl. The owl raised its head slightly, as if to tell him that he had the ability to defeat the ice wind serpent. Kong Xian felt a wonderful tacit understanding between living things, and an unprecedented confidence surged in his heart. "My friend, who are you?" Kong Xian asked softly. The owl made a clear hoot, and then unfolded its snow-white wings in an instant. A brilliant and dazzling light flashed in front of everyone's eyes. 470, it's so beautiful!" the students exclaimed. Kong Xian stared at the ice wind snake and felt the strength and confidence coming from the cool owl. He took a deep breath and put away the anxiety in his heart. "King Xian, let's fight together," Kong Xian said encouragingly to the owl. The owl made a loud hoot and entered the battle with Kong Xian in tacit agreement. Contest condition: they are like invisible partners, and every attack is perfectly coordinated. Ice Wind Snake showed a disdainful smile upon seeing this, thinking that the two of them could defeat him was a fantasy. However, just as it was about to launch an attack, the cool owl spread out its snow-white wings and quickly shuttled past the Ice Wind Snake. Its unpredictable appearance makes it impossible for the Ice Wind Snake to capture its position. Kong Xian seized the opportunity and displayed his powerful skills. The staff with powerful energy in his hand shines brightly, dazzlingly and mysteriously. The moment he waved his staff, the entire scene seemed to be frozen. "Ice Wind Front!" Kong Xian shouted, and shot a powerful ice wind front towards the water wind snake. This ice blade streaked through the air like lightning and landed accurately on the ice wind snake's vital spot. The ice wind snake let out a deafening hiss, and thick frost formed on the surface of its body. It twisted its body in pain, trying to get rid of this sudden attack. Kong Xian and King Xian Owl fight side by side, and they attack alternately in tacit understanding. The owl uses its dexterous movements to lure the ice wind snake and launches continuous attacks on it. Kong Xian, on the other hand, used flexible tactics to force the ice wind snake into a desperate situation. Cheers and cheers filled the Pokémon Academy. The students were all proud of Kong Xian and Cool Owl. When they saw this scene, they were keenly aware of the tacit understanding and cooperation between Kong Xian and Owl, and were deeply shocked. Kong Xian's ice wind strike struck the critical part of the ice wind snake, causing blood and frost to splash. The ice wind snake twisted its body in pain, but still struggled to support the fight. The students watching the game cheered for Kong Xian and Cool Owl, and their hope of victory was being ignited little by little. At the same time, in the Young Xiao Pavilion of the Pokémon Academy, Yan was concentrating on reading the thick book Ancient Mysterious Pokémon Chronicles. His eyes sparkled with strong curiosity and interest, and he was full of desire to explore the mysterious world of Pokémon. The book depicts many legendary Pokémon, and each page shows Pokémon of different types and shapes. Yan seems to have established a tacit connection with the books. He is immersed in them, as if he is in a magical and wonderful world. 2.0 It turns out that these Pokémon have such abilities. It's really amazing, Yan said softly to herself. He kept turning the pages of the book, looking for more mysterious things about Pokémon. In the book, he found an illustration of a rare angel Pokémon. This angelic Pokémon has dazzling golden wings and immaculate white feathers. Period. Chapter 364 Ancient Mysterious Pokémon Chronicles. Yan was attracted by its beautiful and elegant image, and seemed to hear its soft singing. As Yan stared at the illustrations, he felt a mysterious and powerful energy coming from the pages. He couldn't help but stretched out his fingers to touch the illustration, and was surrounded by a warmth and light. Suddenly, the entire Young Xiao Pavilion suddenly changed. Looking out the window of Young Xiao Pavilion, Yan found that she seemed to have traveled through a fantasy and vast world. He was high in the sky, with blue sky and white clouds and the endless sea of clouds beneath his feet. When the wind blew over, it brought a touch of coolness, making him feel extremely comfortable and free. Where is this? Yan's heart was filled with curiosity and wonder. He looked around and found that Young Xiao Pavilion was no longer around him, replaced by a quiet and mysterious environment. At this moment, a soft singing voice came from a distance. Yan looked along the sound and saw a woman wearing a white robe and a golden flower crown walking slowly. She has a gentle smile on her beautiful face like an angel, and holds a slender quill in her hand. She stretched out her hand to signal to Yan and said, "Welcome to the realm of Pokémon." Yan's heart was filled with shock and excitement. He couldn't help but ask, "Who are you? Why did I come here?" The woman smiled and explained, "I am the guardian of the Pokémon realm, and I am also the being born of the endless curiosity and love for the Pokémon world deep in your soul. When you were immersed in the ancient mysterious Pokémon Chronicles, the magic of the books brought you here, establishing a tacit connection with the Pokémon world." Yan felt a strange and warm power coming, and he raised his head and found a cute soaring in the sky fox appearing in front of him. Its fur is silky smooth and its body exudes the light of attract. Soaring in the sky fox lowered its watery eyes, as if it contained profound wisdom. Yanxi and Soaring in the Sky Fox stared at each other for a moment, as if they were communicating in a tacit understanding. Yan was attracted by this mysterious and beautiful creature, and began to approach it actively, trying to communicate more with it. "Who are you?" Yan asked softly. Soaring in the Sky the fox did not speak, but a clear light flashed in its watery eyes. "Are you willing to be friends with me?" Yan extended her hand to signal to Soaring in the Sky Fox. Soaring in the Sky Fox stared quietly for a while, then gently touched Yan's finger. At this moment, Yan suddenly felt that she had established a special connection with Soaring in the Sky. He realized that they no longer needed to communicate through language, but through a tacit understanding of the soul. Yan felt the energy of the Soaring in the Sky Fox, as if she had gained part of its wisdom and strength. 593 He began to listen to the voice in his heart and had a silent dialogue with the fox in the sky. "Where are you Pokemon from?" Yan asked in her mind. Soaring in the Sky Fox left a faint response in his mind. "I come from the land of Soaring in the Sky, far above the sky. Our Soaring in the Sky Fox tribe has extremely high flying skills and wisdom, and has an innate ability to sense elements such as wind and clouds." Yan was attracted by the new and wonderful information in this Pokemon world. He continued to communicate with Soaring in the Sky Fox and learned more about the mysteries of the Pokemon world and the different Pokemon races. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 365 Starlight Clan. Are you willing to take me across this vast and mysterious sea of clouds? Yan asked with expectation. The Soaring in the Sky Fox gladly accepted the invitation and spread its light and elegant white wings beside Yan. In an instant, the bodies of Yanxi and Soaring in the Sky Fox were blown by the gentle wind, and they were flying in the boundless sea of clouds. Yan felt the freedom and joy surging in her body, as if she had integrated into this magical and beautiful world of Pokemon. Suddenly, Mrs. Yan carefully opened a dust-covered ancient book and read page by page. The records in this book are quite detailed, giving him a whole new level of understanding of the ancient mysterious Pokemon race. He discovered that ancient mysterious Pokemon lived on a planet called the Interstellar Land and had otherworldly abilities and unique characteristics. According to records, the most powerful and mysterious of these ancient Pokemon races is called the Starlight Tribe. They have the ability to control the stars and cosmic power, and can communicate with Pokemon on other planets through starlight. The light emanating from the Soaring in the Sky Fox comes from this extremely pure and powerful energy. The more Yan looked, the more shocked he became. He found that he had found the key to one of the deepest mysteries in the Pokemon world. This precious and rare record will bring endless possibilities to him to explore the Pokemon world and cultivate more powerful Pokemon. Soaring in the Sky Fox also seems to be aware of the important information hidden in the book. It tapped the paper gently with its tail, as if encouraging Yan to continue exploring. The two eyes met, conveying surprise and curiosity to each other. Yan continued to pay attention to the contents recorded in the book. In addition to possessing extraordinary powers, these ancient Pokemon races also have a mysterious and powerful ability. They can travel through time and space, reach different worlds, and connect themselves with other Pokemon. Thinking of these new and exciting things, Yan felt extremely excited. He began asking more questions about Soaring in the Sky, hoping to learn more about ancient Pokemon and their history. "Have you heard of the legendary Gate of Time and Space?" asked Yan. Soaring in the Sky Fox left an affirmative answer in his mind. "Yes, in our ancient mysterious Pokemon race, the Gate of Time and Space is regarded as the door to the unknown world and infinite possibilities." Yan and Soaring in the Sky Fox read this record quietly, exchanging looks of surprise and curiosity. There seemed to be a tacit understanding and resonance between the two, and at this unique moment, they established a special relationship. After reading the records about the ancient mysterious Pokemon race, Yan felt a strong and uncontrollable curiosity in his heart. He has become more interested in the world of Pokemon and looks forward to more exploration and discovery. Soaring in the Sky Fox, I realized that our encounter would change my life. This precious and rare record, Li Hao, gave me the opportunity to explore the world of Pokemon and cultivate more powerful Pokemon. Chance. Yan looked at Soaring in the Sky Fox, and the look in their eyes revealed their expectations for the future and their common goals. Soaring in the Sky Fox seemed to understand Yan's words. It tapped the paper gently with its tail, As if to express its agreement and encourage him to move on, feeling this tacit understanding and trust, Yan decided to embark on a journey to explore the world of Pokemon with Soaring in the Sky Fox. Period. Chapter 366 Ice Wind Snake. The two stared at each other quietly, as if they had silently agreed to a million-year agreement in their hearts. This special fate laid the foundation for a strong and sincere friendship between them. Yan felt a mysterious power emanating from the Soaring in the Sky Fox, which made him more determined to explore the Pokemon world and build a deep relationship with Pokemon. Soaring in the Sky Fox, I am full of curiosity and respect for your existence. I hope that we can explore the Pokemon world together and discover the infinite possibilities hidden in the stars and the universe. Yan said to Soaring in the Sky Fox. Soaring in the sky, the fox patted the ground gently with its tail, seeming to express its agreement. Yan felt a blessing and trust it conveyed to herself. Yan put away the book that recorded the ancient mysterious 913 Pokemon race and put it back in its place. He looked up at Soaring in the Sky Fox, and after staring between them for a moment, courage and determination emerged in Yan's heart. We will be incomparable partners and cherish this special fate between us, Yan said solemnly. The Soaring in the Sky Fox chirped, as if in response to Yan's oath. The other side. The excitement in Kong Xian's chest could not be calmed down. Ever since his victory against Cool Owl caused a huge response in the Pokémon Academy, there was an atmosphere of excitement throughout the academy. Everyone was talking a lot and gathered to discuss Kong Xian's victory in the battle with King Xian. Kong Xian stood in the center of the crowd and received endless praise from other students. Some even asked him for combat skills, hoping to learn from his experience and wisdom. Dean, you are so powerful. A young student ran up to Kong Xian and said with admiration, can you teach me some fighting skills? I also want to become as powerful as you. Kong Xian smiled and patted the student on the shoulder. Of course, kid. To become a powerful trainer, you first need to believe in your dreams and keep working hard to pursue them. His tone was firm and warm. More people gathered around and looked at Kong Xian expectantly. Dean, what are your tactics? How do you train Cool Owl? I heard that you performed well in battle. Do you have any secrets? Kong Xian smiled slightly and answered the questions of these students with patience and care. Each Pokemon has its own unique abilities and characteristics. What we trainers have to do is to understand them and use their skills flexibly. At the same time, it is also very important to continue to exercise the tacit understanding between yourself and Pokemon. Cool Owl's next when a duel came, the whole scene became very tense. The Ice Wind Snake quickly launched an attack, using the power of cold to trouble the Cool Owl to the point of discomfort. Its feathers began to show signs of freezing, and its wings flapped painfully. Kong Xian stared closely at King Xian, always paying attention to its situation. He watched with distress as it was attacked by the cold, but still fought back firmly. Cool Owl, don't give up. Kong Xian shouted loudly, you can do it. Show us your strength. Hearing Kong Xian's call, King Xian let out a low and determined howl. It cheered up and most of the frost on its feathers dissipated. It flapped its wings again and launched a counterattack against the Ice Wind Snake. With its most powerful attack power, courage and confidence flow between Kong Xian and Cool Owl. Period. Chapter 367 Victory. They support each other and cooperate tacitly. Kong Xian always paid attention to the battle situation and gave King Xian active coaching. Cool Owl, try your best to avoid the Ice Wind Snake's attack. Use your speed and agility to fight back. Kong Xian analyzed calmly. Cool Owl followed the instructions and nimbly avoided the Ice Wind Snake's attack. It pounced on the Ice Wind Snake with lightning speed, using its sharp claws to launch a powerful bite. The atmosphere on the field became increasingly tense, and the audience held their breath and watched this thrilling battle. They are looking forward to whether Kong Xian and King Xian can win this fierce battle. The Cool Owl's body began to become obviously weak, and it could no longer dodge the Ice Wind Snake's attack as flexibly as before. Upon seeing this, the Ice Wind Snake continued to use its cold power without hesitation, trying to completely defeat the Cool Owl. Kong Xian immediately realized that something was wrong with the Cool Owl, and he hurried forward to check its injury. He discovered that there was an obvious crack in the Cool Owl's feathers, and the ice imprison was continuously releasing cold air from this crack, invading its body. Kong Xian clenched his fists nervously, and he was determined to treat King Xian's injury. Kong Xian acted quickly and gently placed his palm on Cool Owl's chest. A warm energy passed from his hand into the Cool Owl's body, stabilizing its injuries. However, in this fierce battle, they did not have much time to fully recover. Although Cool Owl was injured, he did not give up the fight. It stood up with difficulty, its eyes full of firm determination. Kong Xian felt sincere admiration and said that King Liang Owl was an indomitable fighter. Cool. Owl, you have done a great job. Kong Xian encouraged. Now we need a final sprint. Cool. Owl nodded and took a deep breath. It attacked with all its strength, biting, scratching, and kicking. Although its body still felt weak, it still fought unyieldingly against the ice wind snake. The audience looked at this scene with admiration and shock in their hearts. They cheered and cheered for this brave showdown, cheering for Kong Xian and Cool Owl. Please give me flowers. Time flies in the fierce battle, and everyone can feel the coming victory. Cool Owl tried his best to resist the attack of Ice Wind Snake, while Kong Xian remained vigilant at all times and gave Cool Owl the greatest support and coaching. Cool Owl, hold on a little longer. Victory's right in front of you. Kong Xian shouted loudly and expectantly. Cool Owl followed Kong Xian's instructions and constantly used its last strength to fight back in the bites and claws. It successfully destroyed the Ice Wind Serpent's shield. Finally, in the final blow, King Liang Owl used his last strength to deliver a fatal blow. The Ice Wind Snake was severely defeated, and the cold aura that originally occupied the sky in the arena disappeared without a trace. Kong Xian and Cool Owl win. The entire venue erupted into thunderous applause and cheers. The audience was excited and satisfied with this fierce and difficult battle. Kong Xian walked towards Cool Owl. His eyes flashed with endless pride and joy. You did it, Cool Owl. You showed true courage and perseverance. Chapter 368 Bronze Mirror Dragon. Cool Owl replied in a weak voice, Thank you, Dean Kong Xian. You gave me strength. Kong Xian stared closely at his palms and gently stroked the feathers of Cool Owl with his fingers. Starlight poured out from his palm, like a warm river, slowly pouring through the crack into the wound of Cool Owl. As the healing power of the Starlight Lotus penetrates, the cracks in Maynard's appearance begin to close gradually. Cool Owl's injured area gradually recovered, and its originally weak body gradually regained its energy. Kong Xian concentrated on exerting his healing power until the last ray of starlight was completely released. When Kong Xian felt the power of the Starlight Lotus disappear, he relaxed his palms. He raised his head and looked at the Cool Owl, who was showing him a smile in gratitude. They looked at each other in tacit understanding for a while, conveying deep love and trust to each other in this communication without words. Cool Owl nodded happily, his eyes full of gratitude. It understands that Kong Xian is not only a powerful warrior, but also a person who knows how to care for and protect others. At this moment, Cool Owl felt that everything he had experienced was worth it. Kong Xian turned his eyes to the entrance of the college and saw a huge and ferocious bronze mirror dragon appearing inside the college. It exudes a majestic atmosphere and attracts everyone's attention. The bronze mirror dragon's body is covered with solid copper scales, and the dragon claws as hard as Orberg. Its sharp eyes scanned the surroundings, as if looking for some target. Kong Xian frowned and tried to communicate with the bronze mirror dragon to resolve this sudden crisis. He stepped forward and said in a calm and gentle tone, Bronze mirror dragon, I am Kong Xian, the dean of the college. What do you want to do here? We can have a good talk. However, bronze mirror Longhan Xiansang ignored it. It roared, and the huge wings stretched out from its back began to vibrate, setting off strong winds that swept across the entire square. Everyone felt the bronze mirror dragon rage and the vigilance. Be careful. It's going to attack. Someone shouted. Kong Xian reacted immediately and released a powerful Pokémon that could resist the bronze mirror dragon's attack. His body moved quickly, nimbly dodging the sharp claws and tail of the bronze mirror dragon. Everyone saw this scene and responded one after another. The students of the Pokémon Academy gathered together and controlled their own Pokémon to launch a counterattack. Flames and water flow intertwined, forming a controversial and deadly attack chain in the air. However, the bronze mirror dragon did not suffer much damage, and it still charged Kong Xian with full fighting power. The fierce battle lasted for a while, and the scene fell into tension and chaos. Kong Xian felt the rage and vigilance of the bronze mirror dragon, and he knew that measures must be taken to ease the situation. He took out a beast-controlling fruit from his pocket and quietly showed it to the bronze mirror dragon. The fruit exudes an alluring fragrance, attracting the attention of the bronze mirror dragon. The bronze mirror dragon stopped attacking and lowered its head in surprise. Bronze mirror dragon, please accept my sincerity. Kong Xian's voice was gentle but firm. This is the beast control fruit. It is a rare and delicious fruit. Eating it can enhance your strength and make you feel calm and firm. The eyes of the bronze mirror dragon suspended in the air flashed with complicated emotions, but it still refused to retreat. After hesitating for a moment, it finally took a step forward. Chapter 369. It's really scary. Well done. Kong Xian smiled and praised, "As long as you are willing to accept this kindness and peace, I believe we can resolve the misunderstanding." 17. He placed a beast control fruit in his hand on the ground and took a few steps back. There was a hint of cunning in the bronze mirror dragon's eyes, but it was not moved by the beast controlling fruit in Kong Xian's hand. It attacked Kong Xian and others fiercely. The huge body flew towards Kong Xian like a meteorite, causing strong air disturbance in an instant. The entire space seemed to be shaking. This guy's power is really terrifying. Faced with the powerful attack power of the bronze mirror dragon, Kong Xian had to resist with all his strength. 14. He quickly activated his Pokémon skills and stretched out two huge and transparent Pokémon wings from his back to resist the attack of the bronze mirror dragon. However, even so, the bronze mirror dragon still rushed forward unstoppably. Kong Xian felt that he was gradually struggling just when the crisis was looming. A cool owl suddenly flew to Kong Xian's side. It has slender and sharp claws and a pair of translucent and clear eyes, and looks very majestic. Cool. Kong Xian shouted, "Help me!" The cool owl immediately flew to the side of the bronze mirror dragon and started a fierce battle. It kept attacking the bronze mirror dragon's body with its sharp claws. Flashing with cold light, the bronze mirror dragon was forced back several steps by the cool owl's attack, but it still refused to give up. This bronze mirror dragon is really tenacious. King Liang also felt the rage and vigilance in the bronze mirror dragon. Kong Xian stared at King Liang closely. Feeling worried in his heart, he saw that cool owl's body was rickety, its wings were covered with deep wounds, and its originally agile posture had become extremely clumsy. "King Liang, you're injured." Kong Xian's voice was filled with anxiety. He knew that Cool Owl had paid a heavy price in previous battles. Cool Owl barely flapped its injured wings, but its eyes remained firm. "Leave me alone, Dean. We must face this bronze mirror together." Kong Xian's eyes flashed with determination. He took a deep breath and stood up straight. Although they faced difficulties and were unable to deal with the bronze mirror dragon's attack, they could not retreat. The two of them once again faced the bronze mirror dragon with tacit understanding. Kong Xian activated his remaining Pokémon skills with all his strength and turned into a stream of light to fight the bronze mirror dragon. He waved a beast control fruit in his hand and used the most powerful attack. However, the power of the bronze mirror dragon is far beyond their imagination. It let out a deafening roar, and its body slammed into Kong Xian and King Liang like a meteorite. Normal. Kong Xian felt a sharp pain in his chest and was knocked back several steps by the powerful shock wave. Cool Owl could not withstand the powerful attack of Bronze Mirror 150 Dragon and was forced to retreat. "This Bronze Mirror Dragon is too powerful," Kong Xian murmured to himself. He looked at the indomitable Cool Owl in front of him, and a strong determination surged in his heart. Kong Xian and King Liang Owl stared closely at the Bronze Mirror Dragon in front of them, their hearts filled with pressure and endless anxiety. They could feel the strong sticky breath emitted by the Bronze Mirror Dragon, as if the entire air was oppressed by it and made them breathless. Kong Xian stared at the Bronze Mirror Dragon, with the cold light flashing in his eyes. He knows that this battle will be a life and death battle, and he must protect the safety of Cool Owl. "We can't lose," he said through gritted teeth. Period. Chapter 370. Powerful Enemy. King Liang Owl felt Kong Xian's firm will and nodded slightly to express understanding. "Only by working together can we deal with this powerful enemy." It took a deep breath and put away the fear in its heart. The two of them exchanged a look in tacit understanding, as if they were transmitting countless messages in a tacit understanding. This look tells each other, "We must stand together and face this crisis together." Kong Xian and Cool Owl clenched their weapons at the same time. The beast-controlling fruit in Kong Xian's hand glowed dazzlingly, and the Cool Owl's claws formed a ball of cyan flame in his hand. "For our institution, for everything we protect," Kong Xian shouted loudly. They decided not to wait for the Bronze Mirror Dragon to attack, but to take the initiative. Kong Xian quickly rushed towards the Bronze Mirror Dragon, rising into the sky like a bolt of lightning. The beast control fruit in his hand burst out with dazzling light, and hit the Bronze Mirror Dragon with the power to destroy everything at the same time. Cool Owl also launched an attack. It waved its claws, and the cyan flame turned into fire rain and poured down towards the Bronze Mirror Dragon, forming a blazing sea of fire. The Bronze Mirror Dragon roared violently, and it contained a powerful energy zone within its body. It swung Kong Xian and Cool Owl hard with its huge and powerful tail. The two of them dodged to avoid the attack, but still felt the irresistible force. Kong Xian and King Liang Owl's body suddenly concentrated all their strength and began to emit dazzling starlight. Starlight converges on their fists and claws, forming a special energy. Kong Xian felt the surge of energy, and his eyes flashed with determination. He gritted his teeth, circulated the power of Pokémon in his body, and poured all the power into his hands. Not to be outdone, the cool owl splashed its figure and drew a beautiful arc in the air, while also injecting the power of Pokémon in its body into its talons. The two exchanged a tacit look, conveying firmness and determination. After they regained their composure, they decided to launch the powerful Star Strike skill assist together to counterattack the Bronze Mirror Dragon. Now, Kong Xian shouted. The two of them soared into the sky at the same time, shining with starlight as if they merged into the night sky. Kong Xian waved a beast control fruit in his hand, and starlight poured out from the fruit to form a beautiful and deadly Arceus shape. The cool owl splashes high, and the starlight in its talons turns into a shining blade. Their attacks were like meteors flying towards the Bronze Mirror Dragon. The Bronze Mirror Dragon sensed the coming threat and waved its giant tail furiously in an attempt to defend itself. However, Kong Xian and King Xian's speed reached the limit. They quickly bypassed a Bronze Mirror Dragon and simultaneously used the Starlight Heavy Strike skill behind it. The Arceus-shaped starlight intersects with a blade, emitting a dazzling light at the turning point. A powerful wave of energy suddenly exploded in the air, shaking and distorting the surrounding air. Kong Xian and King Nuaheo's Eagle Star striking skills caused a huge impact, and their fists and claws quickly hit the Bronze Mirror Dragon like meteors. The Bronze Mirror Dragon was beaten back steadily by this heavy blow, and obvious scars appeared on his body. Don't relax, Kong Xian shouted. We're not over yet. The cool owl nodded, spread its wings, flew in the air, and continued to attack the stars. A sharp blade. Period. Chapter 371. Cooperation is invincible. Each slash was like severing the air without mercy. Kong Xian waved a beast control fruit in his hand, and starlight poured out from the fruit, forming a beautiful and deadly Arceus shape. After throwing up the beast control fruit, he quickly shuttled through the high air, scattering Arceus-shaped starlight on the Bronze Mirror Dragon. The Bronze Mirror Dragon struggled to avoid these attacks, but he had nowhere to escape. Kong Xian and King Xian cooperated tacitly. They encouraged each other and constantly adjusted their attack strategies to force the Bronze Mirror Dragon into a desperate situation. The Bronze Mirror Dragon roared and waved its giant tail furiously, trying to defend against the attacks of Kong Xian and Cool Owl. However, their speed reached the limit, and they easily bypassed a Bronze Mirror Dragon, and behind it, 420 simultaneously used the Starlight Heavy Strike skill. The Arceus-shaped starlight intersects with a blade, emitting a dazzling light at the collision point. A powerful wave of energy suddenly exploded in the air, shaking and distorting the surrounding air. Kong Xian and King Xian felt the coming victory. They exchanged a look with joy and determination. They knew the attack would be a fatal blow. Finally, after the energy fluctuations dissipated, the Bronze Mirror Dragon fell heavily to the ground. His body was covered with scars, his scales were broken, and he was obviously severely injured. We succeeded, Kong Xian said happily. The cool owl flapped its wings happily, and the joy of returning home was filled with joy in its eyes. They hugged each other tightly and celebrated this victory. We worked together very well, King Xian said excitedly. I have never felt such power. Kong Xian smiled and nodded. Cooperation is invincible. Facing the defeated Bronze Mirror Dragon, Kong Xian took out a beast control fruit, which exuded a warm light in his hands. This fruit is a unique treasure of the Evergreen Pokemon Academy, which can help people and Pokemon establish a strong emotional connection. Kong Xian extended the beast control fruit to the Bronze Mirror Dragon and issued a kind invitation. Bronze Mirror Dragon, there is no enmity between us. I hope to become friends with you. The Copper, Beatty, Mirror Dragon seemed to feel Kong Xian's kindness towards it. It stopped struggling and resisting, slowly accepted the invitation, and gradually released its hostility towards Kong Xian and King Xian. It seems we have successfully defused its hostility. Cool Owl breathed a sigh of relief. Kong Xian smiled and nodded. We succeeded in making it change its attitude through cooperation and goodwill. The Bronze Mirror Dragon stood up and lowered his head to indicate that he agreed to become friends with him. Kong Xian and Cool Owl looked at each other, believing that the friendship they had just established would be lasting and strong. With the recognition of the Bronze Mirror Dragon, the surrounding atmosphere becomes peaceful and harmonious. Kong Xian walked to the Bronze Mirror Dragon and gently stroked its broken scales on its back. You are already very brave, Kong Xian said softly. I will help you repair your wounds. He used the beast control fruit to deliver warm energy. The Bronze Mirror Dragon felt this energy, and a trace of gratitude flashed in his eyes. With Kong Xian's help, Bronze Mirror Dragon's wounds gradually healed. The Cool Owl flew to Kong Xian and watched this scene curiously. You are so awesome. King Liang Owl praised, you can use the beast control fruit to repair wounds. Kong Xian smiled and explained, the taming fruit is one of the precious treasures of the Evergreen Pokémon Academy. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 372 Maps and Missions. In addition to increasing strength, it can also help heal wounds and calm hostility. I believe that every Pokemon has a kind and friendly heart. Cool Owl nodded, yearning for the beast control fruit even more. Kong Xian and the Pokemon cheered with splash, celebrating their success in blocking the enemy's attack. They proudly accepted their achievement notifications from the Pokemon Academy. We did it! Kong Xian shouted excitedly. He, Cool Owl, and other Pokemon partners hugged each other and expressed their appreciation for each other's cooperation and efforts. This is great. Cool Owl said excitedly, we defeated the bronze mirror dragon through cooperation. The other Pokemon jumped to express their joy. They experienced a huge test in this battle, but finally won. Kong Xian sat quietly in the room, the friendly light shining on his face. He turned on his phone and prepared to check the achievement notification he had just received. Opening the email expectantly, he stared at the words on the screen. However, Kong Xian soon discovered that this was not what he expected. The achievements described in the achievement notifications do not fully match the reality of what they experienced in battle. There should be more rewards behind the children receiving this honor, but now some of it has been cut. Kong Xian's expression became tense. This is not just for nominal honor, but because the rewards should be a recognition of the efforts and dedication of the partners today. That recognition has been shrunk. He raised his head and looked around, looking at his friends who were immersed in the faint light. The Cool Owl seemed to sense that something was wrong with him, and flew to Kong Xian and stopped in front of him. What's the matter, Dean? King Liang Owl asked with concern. Kong Xian sighed, the achievement notification is not entirely true, and the rewards have been cut. I feel a little disappointed. Other Pokemon also noticed Kong Xian's change in mood and gathered around him. This is so unfair. A fire Pokemon said angrily, we put in so much effort, but it was ignored. I feel a little wronged, too. A water Pokemon sighed helplessly, please give me flowers. One by one, the partners expressed their dissatisfaction with the result. They are full of confidence in their own strength and efforts, but they do not get the rewards they deserve. Kong Xian looked at everyone's expressions and couldn't help feeling guilty. He knew that his partners were expecting better achievements and rewards, but now they have failed. I'm sorry, guys. Kong Xian forced a smile, I thought we would get more. But now it seems that it has backfired. 0-0. The Cool Owl flew next to Kong Xian and patted his shoulder gently. It's okay, Dean. We understand that you fought for this opportunity for us and did the best we could. The other Pokemon nodded to express their understanding and support. Soon, Kong Xian received the envelope with a mission content from the person in charge of the college, and his heart was filled with new expectations. He opened the envelope, revealing a mysterious map and several mission markers. The map depicts an unknown Pokemon world, full of rich atmosphere. Kong Xian's eyes lit up, and he immediately realized that this was a new challenge. Period. Chapter 373 Prove Yourself. This mission will not only allow them to gradually recover from the disappointment in their hearts, but also give their partners a chance to prove themselves. Guys, we have a new mission. Kong Xian announced excitedly. Other Pokemon gathered around and stared at the map in their hands curiously. See? This is a map of the unknown Pokemon world. Kong Xian pointed to the marks on the map. These marks represent the tasks we can explore and complete in 850. That's great. I've been exploring Covet for a long time. The water Pokemon jumped excitedly. We can show our true strength in this unknown land. The fire Pokemon said with anticipation. Everyone is full of longing and confidence for the upcoming adventure. Kong Xian felt the fire burning inside them. Partners, we must unite and work together in this task. I know that each of you has unlimited potential. Kong Xian encouraged. The Cool Owl fluttered its wings, landed on Kong Xian's shoulder, and said softly, Dean, I believe you can lead us to complete this task. The other Pokemon nodded in support and anticipation. They know that Kong Xian is a strong and trustworthy leader, and believe that he can give them more opportunities and rewards. Kong Xian took a deep breath and looked at his partners firmly. Let's explore this unknown world together. accomplish more achievements and prove our strength and talent to everyone. Partners nodded one after another to express their support and firmness for Kong Xian. Yan couldn't wait to come to Kong Xian's office. Holding the ancient mysterious Pokemon Chronicle tightly in her hands, he excitedly told Kong Xian, "Kong Xian, you will never believe what I just discovered in the book." Kong Xian raised his head, looked at the twinkling light in Yan's eyes, and asked, "What did you find?" Yan handed the book to Kong Xian with a smile, pointed to one of the pages and said, "On a certain page of this book, there is a record about the mysterious Qinglong Empire in the East." Kong Xian took the book and read its contents carefully. As his eyes moved over the text, he was gradually attracted by this record. Kong Xian murmured to himself, "Qinglong Empire is indeed a very interesting name." Upon seeing this, Yan immediately said, "Yes. This record says that the Qinglong Empire is hidden in a dense forest, and it is said that many rare and powerful Pokemon live there. I have never heard of this legend." Kong Xian frowned and thought for a moment. "It is precisely because so few people know about it that it is more worthy of our exploration. And according to records, the magical atmosphere there is very strong. I believe it can bring us many new discoveries and challenges," Yan said excitedly. Kong Xian nodded silently and looked at the determination in Yan's eyes. He suddenly felt a sense of adventure, which gradually surged in his heart. "You're right. I also think this place is a bit special. Since we are all interested in it, let's go and find out." Yan's face beamed. "That's great. I can't wait to start this new adventure with you." Kong Xian walked to the window with a smile and looked out the window at Attract's Pokemon world. "We must be prepared. There may be many unknowns and dangers waiting for us in the mysterious Qinglong Empire in the East." Yan walked to Kong Xian and looked ahead firmly. Period. Chapter 374 Alchemy Workshop. "Yes. We will definitely succeed. This adventure will not only increase experience and strength, but also make our Pokemon Academy famous." Kong Xian turned to face the wall of portraits of his companions, thinking about how to prepare for this adventure. "I will apply to the school leaders for resource support and mission permission. Before we set off, make sure everyone is ready." "Absolutely. No problem," Yan replied firmly. Kong Xian and Yan are preparing to leave the Pokemon Academy and begin their adventure to the mysterious Azure Dragon Empire in the East. Kong Xian packed his 14 bags and prepared to meet Yan. Just as they were about to leave the academy, a loud bang suddenly resounded through the sky, shaking the entire Pokemon Academy. Kong Xian and Yan were taken aback and immediately ran towards the source of the sound. When they rushed to the alchemy workshop, they were stunned by the sight in front of them. The entire alchemy workshop has been turned into ruins, and black smoke is rising into the sky. Bodies and debris were scattered on the ground, and the burning flames continued to spread around. Kong Xian hurriedly used his own power to control the fire and checked whether there were any casualties. Fortunately, no students were injured. However, the accident caused serious losses and made Kong Nguyen regretful. Yan clenched her fists tightly, with anger flashing in her eyes. "This is definitely not an accident. Someone must have deliberately caused this explosion." Kong Xian nodded and agreed. He knew in his heart that this explosion was definitely not an accident. The safety measures in the alchemy workshop have always been strict, and accidents will not happen easily. "We must investigate the truth of this incident," Kong Xian said calmly. "Someone wants to stop us from going to the mysterious Qinglong Empire in the East. We can't just back down." Kong Xian still blames Yan for his carelessness. "Ms. Yan, you have to be careful. If something irreversible happens this time, I don't know how to explain it to the students." Although his tone was stern, his eyes showed concern for Mr. Yan. Yan lowered her head and accepted Kong Xian's scolding. "I'm sorry, Boo. I will do better." He took a deep breath and stared at the ruins firmly. "The most important thing now is to find out the truth about this explosion." Kong Xian nodded. "Yes, we have to find out who deliberately caused this explosion. They want to prevent us from going to the Eastern Qinglong Empire, but we can't back down because of this." "That's right." Determination flashed in Yan's eyes. "No matter who it is, for what purpose, we cannot let them succeed. This incident may be just the beginning, and we must protect the students and the entire Pokemon Academy." The two clenched their fists in tacit understanding, still showing firm determination. After losing the workshop, they understand that this explosion is only the first step for this enemy. If no action is taken, the entire Pokemon Academy and the Eastern Azure Dragon Empire will be in danger. "Now, we will temporarily close the workshop for repairs," Kong Xian suggested. This will give us some time to investigate and ensure the safety of the students. Yan nodded in agreement. Yes, the workshop needs to be thoroughly inspected and repaired. Moreover, we also need to organize more forces to investigate. Kong Xian and Yan walked home along the familiar alley. The surrounding scenery looks particularly peaceful amidst this whirling power snow. Chapter 375 Muzuhu. Suddenly, a graceful fox jumped out its first shines with pure white light, showing extraordinary spirituality and beautiful temperament. This is Muzuhu. Yan murmured to herself. Kong Xian also stared intently at the mysterious and attractive Pokémon in front of him. Muzuhu stared at them quietly, then smiled and handed them a dreaming bead. What is this? Kong Xian carefully took the bead and felt a mysterious power pouring out of it. Yan also stretched out his palm to touch the beads gently, and he felt the same power. This is a mysterious orb. Muzuhu spoke, her voice blowing by her ears like a breeze. It can help you solve the mystery of the previous explosion and guide you to the Eastern Azure Dragon Empire. The eyes of Kong Xian and Yan met, and they knew tacitly that this was an excellent opportunity and the key to solving the mystery. Thank you, Muzuhu. Kong Xian smiled slightly. He deeply understood the value of the beads this Pokémon gave them. Muzuhu shook his head. You're welcome. I just hope that you can protect my home, Pokémon Academy, and find the culprit that prevents us from going to the Eastern Azure Dragon Empire. Yan held the beads tightly and said firmly, we will never live up to your expectations. We will find the truth from this mystery and bring to justice those who attempt to destroy and harm Pokémon Academy. Kong Xian scratched his head uncomfortably, although his heart was aroused. I am curious about this encounter, but I am not unwilling to let others know, so he simply replied, it's just a small accident, nothing serious. Yan's eyes flickered, and he laughed happily as if he had expected it. Muzuhu nodded slightly, as if he understood their thoughts. Then it said in a soft and crisp voice, this world is full of many unknown and wonderful things. Maybe one day you will encounter more mysteries. Kong Xian and Yan felt an indescribable excitement surge into their hearts. They are fully aware of the mission they bear, and are determined to find the mastermind behind the explosion and bring him to justice. Muzuhu seemed to feel the firmness in their hearts, and a trace of relief reflected in its eyes shining with white light. Cherish this mysterious orb, Muzuhu reminded gently. It will help you solve the mystery and guide you to the Eastern Azure Dragon Empire. After saying that, it hovered gently in the sky and disappeared into the night sky filled with powder snow. Kong Xian and Yan were left standing alone in the alley. They looked at each other and saw the determination and expectation in each other's eyes. Kong Xian carefully placed a mysterious orb on the table and stared at it. The bead seemed to emit a faint light, and there is a mysterious and ancient atmosphere surrounding them. He took out a magnifying glass and carefully observed the conversion on the surface of the beads, and tried to find more clues from different angles. Every detail is extremely important. Kong Xian is immersed in observation. I hope to find some clues about the mastermind behind the explosion from this orb. He imagined the moment when he could solve the mystery and uncover the criminal, and his heart surged with determination and excitement. Suddenly, Mrs. Yan came over and looked at Kong Xian's focused look and said softly, End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.